notes should be 5 copies of the packing notes.
You just explain what is a packing note?
Packing note is like a schedule.
The example I can is people that are boarding onto that floor.
Serial number is official SAP number.
Now,
layer 86.
Our team.
Ibra.
And the caliber as well. How many live rounds are with that particular firearm? And the magazine as well.
And then the column show the reason you forfeiture. If would is permissive exhibit, ya parallel exhibit stroke. If we is permissive voluntary surrender, so parallel.
And that last column would give the reason pertaining to that particular exhibit. For an example, if this is the firearm voluntarily surrendered to the state, if it was a firearm that was an exhibit, you will also indicate in that column that this firearm that needs to be destroyed or forfeited to the state was an exhibit.
And then if form forfeiture form, not 522A forfeiture form. It's like a list.
Now, the other form that needs to be filled, it is the forfeiture form, not the 522B, but the forfeiture in which there are lists there that you need to.
Serial number, case number,
there is a serial number that has to be recorded, the case number of that particular firearm.
And then the SAP-13.
And as well as the SAP-13.
And the name of a person, law niggas instruction. And then this date, niggas instruction.
And the name of the person that is given that instruction, as well as the date in which the instructions were given. Basically, we are owathola instruction kanjalo nosuku anikezwa instruction ngayo okanye anikeza ngayo instruction.
And then bese kuba khona elinye li-A4 lesibhamu lesi singene ngelanga lokuthi for a case number so and committee yipi crime.
Now it must also be made. When was it brought in?
Yes, when was it and what charge?
And what charge? And what charge is associated or is attributed to that firearm?
Lama form ngizowasho ngitshela engizowalabula manje lawa owabhalela lapho my lord is that ipack note ne schedule list ne breakdown ne forfeiture form no forfeiture list not form. Lezo zinto lezo zithunyelwa i-provincial.
I guess this is short. All those items or the forms that we have spoken about, the form,
not forfeiture list,
or the forfeiture list,
the breakdown
list,
and the breakdown list, breakdown. Yes, packing note, breakdown, forfeiture, and a packing note. So there must be 4.
There must be 4 of them.
Yes.
There must be 4. It is the packing note.
Yes.
The forfeiture.
Yes.
The break must be 4 of them.
Must be 4.
Sure, yes. Okay.
It's a packing note.
As they are being itemized, madam.
Yes. The schedule is just mentioning. You just mentioned the firearms that all of them is there.
Now, on the schedule, you only mention the firearms as they are.
But you don't mention or give instruction or what. You just say SAP-13 number, so and so, firearm. What is it?
The likes of give instruction, you don't record that one. SAP-13, these items of the firearms, and then you just record them there.
All those provincial head.
All those forms are sent to us by the provincial head.
And mabe wathumela ke lama form yonke kuba i-process end. Mabe wathumela usazo compile wagcwalisa wonke ama-firearms. If you've got 100 firearms, wonke lama firearms funeka abe nalawo ama-form each.
And when they send such forms, all the firearms needs to be attached to each form, and each form has to be filled, and a compilation needs to be made. let's say for an example, there's 100 firearms that we need to work on. Each and every firearm needs to receive such attachments in terms of those forms and properly filled.
And you send them, and on those days, remember this is 2015, long time, 2017, bekufuneka nethombe, and you must take pictures of that firearm. You must take 6 pictures of the firearm. Uzithatha kanjani ithombe lezi nduna
manje ufanele ukuthi uthathe nezithombe ke phezulu kwalokho isibhamu ngasinye uthathe ke izithombe ezo6
isibhamu sime kanje uzothatha 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side, 1 on top, 1 underneath, 1 at the back where the handle is, and 1 on the barrel. Let's make 6.
Now that is how 6 is made on beneath the fire.
So ngalesikhathi isibhamu sihamba uyosidestroya uzobe uphethe ifile enamaphepha amaningi for one firearm.
Now at the time that you are going to be destroying, you're taking the firearm for destruction, you will be in possession of the file, a bunch of a file there with you.
Mina ngoba ngisestation eCleveland, then provincial yami ise-Johannesburg Central. Ibhamu bezinga-distractwa lapho beziza la logistic ePretoria.
Now at the time that I was in Cleveland, and Obano bese Johannesburg Central?
It's my provincial head.
My provincial head was at the
is it right now? Is it
Johannesburg
yeah.
Central?
But the national logistics where the distraction is Pretoria logistics.
Now, where the distraction would take place is in Pretoria at the logistic. That is the national office where the distraction takes place.
Yibo abazokhipha ke qala laba instruction ukuthi lungisani ibhamu ekufuneka zidestroy. So that thing leyo nto leyenza ukuthi ungathatha 1 year, 2 years, 3 years before ukuthi leso sibhamu leso sesikulist yakho ukuthi kumele siyo distractwa before sihambe siyo distractwa.
Now when they issue out the instruction that firearms should be brought for destruction, it comes 3 years to be carried out. Let's say, for an example, it is a firearm that is in my list of firearms. It will take me about 2 to 3 years to can comply with that instruction for a particular firearm to get to be destroyed.
Masuzuhlanganisileke zonke lezi zinto wazisa eprovincial yazisa district logistic yazipheruza yaba happy ngokuthi cha ugcwalise yonke into efunekayo ilesikhathi ke still basazokhiphe yabo idate ngoba akuyi Cleveland station samsisodwa sikhuluma ngedeshi ezi140 in Gauteng ngalelo langa kumele sinikezwe ama date ukuthi nina this west cluster these 5 stations nelanga lokuthi nina ngalelanga lokuthi.
There are various stations that
3-4 months again.
There are various stations that need to comply with the instruction. It is not only Cleveland that is given just that one day. You will find that they are categorized or they are grouped that on such and such a date there should be such and such stations that are bringing the firearm. That is, if the provincial office has already approved your processes, and as well as the fact that it needs to be taken to the national logistics. Now, that needs to be taken into consideration, that there are various stations that has to comply with that particular instructions. Then we're talking about another 4 months, about 4 months that we will be dealing with in terms of final compliance with that instruction.
You said how many stations are there in Gauteng?
I'm standing to be corrected. There are 140 Gauteng.
If I'm not mistaken, or based on my knowledge, there's 140.
140.
There's 140 stations in Gauteng.
Yes.
Yes. 140 khona la eGauteng.
Mangathi nje ngalelanga ke lesibhamu mina ngoba ngiqala ukusenza le office ngo2019. That's why ngazenzele yami list ukuthi okay lezi zimele zihamba kanjani kanje sezilungele nje ukuthi mhla kuphuma instruction uzoqala ipaperwork yazo.
I made my own list when I started working, in 2019 about these firearms that are in my list, that at any given time, if the instruction is issued, then I should at least be in the position to can be able to comply.
If I can ask you to turn to Annexure A of Exhibit X2, can you just identify the document?
Njengoba uzoyibona i-annexure A le ukuthi ithi annexure, okay, annexure mina ngabhala la ukuthi firearms ngathi to be destroyed. That was in 2019.
I have written there, as it is appearing on this annexure, firearms to be destroyed.
And mawungabheka lapha, this page starts only from 11 up to mawungabheka sequence number 19. Nice SAP 13 number there, which is 86/2015. Case number 9602/2015. It's a CZ millimeter. Then there was nothing here at the time because I didn't have a serial number of a firearm by that time.
As it appears on the entry there, number 19, it says SAP 13 number 86/2015, and the cast number is 9602/2015, and the name is CZ 9mm, and under the serial number column, it was blank there.
So ngisheshe ngilungise la ukuthi why manje sekubhalwe kanje esikhathi ke isibhamu sesizobhukwa sesisuka ke kumina sisuswa kumina siza la head office, so kwafuneka ngizobhala ukuthi lesibhamu asisekho ngaphandle kwekheyami esithathwe i-national head office.
Now, when there was a need for this firearm to be booked out to the national office, I had to therefore generalize in that column that the firearm is no longer under my care.
Actually, very objection. Just we are a bit lost here. Which firearm we're talking about? We are able to see in column number 1. There are numbers there up to 30. Now we don't know which number specifically.
I said the list you've got here. It's oh yes, sorry. Handwriting it's 1, 2, 3, 4. List yami ngazenzela yona la ukuthi ngiziprepare telefoneka nje lebhamu 084 destroyed. So it's item number 9.
It does relate, my lord. This is the list that I generated myself, so that it must be readily available in case there's an instruction that some of the items that I have in my list should be sent.
Yeah, to which firearm does it relate to?
This firearm I'm talking about here is mawungabheka the next item le phezulu kubhale SAP 13 number. Then I mentioned number 13 number. Number 9 law uti SAP 13 number yakho is 86/2015.
Now, if you look in that column, that is SAP 13 number, it says 86/2015.
And then mawungabheka the next block there is a case number where kufanele fire khona case number.
And then also the next block would be, or column would be a case number, which I need.
So we will play killer because this palm less a serial number.
Now, the entry there in the last column, it was actually a blank. Nothing was written there because there was no serial number of that firearm.
Yes, the cast number, can you just put that on record as well as the make of the firearm?
Case number it's 96/2/2015.
The cast number of this particular firearm is 96/02/2015.
And the firearm
which
is
station?
Cleveland.
It is the Cleveland station.
Cleveland SAPS.
Shonjalo ukuthi is station kwaba is station say Cleveland.
And it's a CZ which is a 9mm.
It is a CZ 9mm. Shonjalo ke hlobo lwesibhamu CZ 9mm.
And if you turn to the third page of Exhibit X3, there under the last column, Can you just read that entry?
Ungakwazi ukusifundela yona le entry line.
Layer 2020 of 7 nge 20.
Is it that one?
No, the very last column. On page 3,
last
yes.
column. Page 3.
Yes. Yes, that's one.
Okay, the last column now. Makwenziwa ilokhuzane lapha ngithi every 3 months abantu laba bangiphethe bayeza bazokwenza inspection.
Now, every 3 months, my seniors would usually come and do the inspection
To uzobheka spam asikho spam silahlekile.
just to check as to whether there isn't any firearm that got lost.
So bathi mabefika kule entry layer lesibhamu lesi SAP 1386.
And then when they got here, they then checked the 86,
And then iba
SAP 1386.
The third page from the beginning. Sorry, my lord, I just want to assist our colleagues.
so
Thank you, Miller.
ngaqhubeka.
Yes.
Can I proceed?
So icolumn 6 kuthe yona why ibhalwe la ukuthi to head office. Ingalesikhathi ke benza inspection then bangibuza ke mina bathi siphi lesibhamu lesi. Ngithi mina lesibhamu lesi sabhukwa uKennel that time it was a Lieutenant Colonel Mangena wasithatha esisa futhi esibuyisela eballistic for re-examination. So la namanye abachethi that's why lesibhamu singekho la istoreroom sami. So but no, you must write here that to head office.
Now that column says to head office. It was at the time that they came and they inquired about the whereabouts of this firearm with that SAP 13 number. That is when I explained to them that this firearm was booked out by, it was booked for FSL Ballistics. And then they indicated to me that then there should be an entry that is made on that column to indicate that the firearm has gone to the head office. It is how it came about that to head office has been written there in that column.
If I can then ask you to turn again on that very same page, column 5, just the entries there and the dates.
It's 2020 of 07 on the 20th.
Usho njalo with it dated E20 July 2020.
Entry ebhaliwe la ithi item 3.1 booked to FSL Ballistic for further examination booked by service number so and so is Lieutenant Colonel C Mangena with the cell number.
Kanti ke bese kuyabhala lapho ke lento eyabhukwa ukuthi izoya khona lapha eFSL ngamanye amazwi kuma ballistic ukuze ke iyohlolisiswa okanye iyovivinywa kanti ke iyabhukwa kanye yakhishwa nguye lona uMangena uLieutenant Colonel Mangena wasetshenziswa ke nenombolo yakhe ayisebenzisayo yasemsebenzini yomsebenzi kanti ke nenombolo yomakhala ekhukhini wakhe.
If I can ask you to turn over the page. In the same column, what is the entry there?
And then nge 2020 ngawo futhi uJuly lo nge 27 item 3.1 to 3.3 booked back by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena So nge-27 ngesiZulu ukuthi bayibuyi basabuya isibhamu eballistics buyiswa uye futhi uKennel Mangena.
Kanti-ke kule khulumo esikhuluma ngayo icala ngedate ithi i-27 zikaJuly 2020 kukhulunywa-ke ngo-item 3.1 ukuya ku-item 3.3 leyo nto yakhishwa nguye lona uMangena okanye yabuyiswa nguye uMangena waze wayisayinela nje khona lapho.
I-entry elandelayo ngalo lelo langa futhi Lieutenant Colonel Mangena ezoyithatha eyibuyisa back kumina. Kwase ehamba no Colonel by then uColonel BN Gininda owathi naye futhi naye mayiqeda nje ukubukwa back yena wayesenza i-entry futhi ku-2020 2020 items 3.1 to 3.2 Colonel Gininda head office book out for case number Fosloras 63610 2014 wase starta ke manje futhi naye sibuyisela back ke kuyena kwi-safe yakhe manje head office.
On that very day, the 27th of July 2020, the same items that were mentioned above, which is items 3.1 to 3.3, were booked out by Colonel Gininda from the head office. Gantige usho njalo ukuthi ngalo lolo suku uGininda weza futhi ke njengoba lesi sibhamu siyalethwa ke namhlanje siphinde futhi uyasikhipha yena ke uColonel Gininda wase head office Express 636/10/2014 ngoba iyo i-case number yakhona ke yaleyo case ke ebandakanya ithi case Fosloras 636/10/2014.
And from whom did he receive this firearm?
From me.
He received it.
Because kune paperwork eningi okufune uyenze nobe clear ngayo.
As I've already explained that one can keep the firearm 2-3 years because of the paperwork that still needs to be done. A lot of paperwork needs to be done before the firearm is destroyed. Njengoba sengishilo ke ukuthi kwafanele ukuthi kube namaphepha amaningi agcwaliswayo okanye esisebenza ngawo amayelana naleso sibhamu angokuba leso sibhamu siyolahlwa.
You mentioned that by the time a firearm is destroyed, you'll be having a large file.
Yes, it will be. Yebo kuzoba njalo.
Yes, it will be so. Yes.
When is this file opened?
As mina njoba ngishilo mina ngine yami list ukuthi ngizenzele yami list ukuthi mhla sekuthiwa lethani ibhamu mina ngazi ukuthi iziphi ibhamu ufune ngiyithathe.
As I have already said that I created my own list to be readily available in case of a day in which they will be saying that bring the firearms for destructions. I will be in the position to can comply.
Ilapho ke i-provincial ezosithumelela wonke amaphepha okumele ukuthi agcwaliswe.
That is where the provincial office will then be sending us all the documents that needs to be filled in pertaining that firearm.
So ngangilinde nje leyo instruction ke ukuthi ifike so ngiyangishilo ukuthi kuthatha isikhathi ukuthi ifike.
I was then waiting for such an instruction to arrive. And as I've also indicated that it takes time before such instruction comes.
Then ukube yayifikile ke ngalesa sikhathi 3 months or what my lord ngabe la ibhokisi namhlanje.
If that came within the space of 3 months, after instruction, I would not be finding myself in this. Would have been an ash already with that firearm.
So ngenxa ukuthi ke kwaba khona ukuthi kufanele silinde sidelay ukuthi silinde i-provincial isitshela ukuthi now preparani ke le bhamu na i-paperwork on it to complete yilapho ke ifile ofuneka uqale uyisebenze ke nje mase kwaphuma i-call-up instruction.
Now once that call-up instructions have been issued, this is when you start with that filing, compilation of documents.
And ukubeka nje kancane wena ngosenkantolo ukuthi La incwadi zami lesibhamu sithi filed off. Noma sibuya futhi sibuya sisathi asina serial number. Isibhamu esingena serial number ke sinayo eyayi process futhi okumele sihambe before si destruct.
Now, the recordings that I have pertaining to a particular firearm, the number has been filed off. Even when it came back, the firearm was still not having any serial number with it. Now, it means there is a special procedure that needs to be complied with or followed as far as the firearm that does not have the serial number with it.
And what is that procedure?
It's in their procedure.
In National Head Office iyophela ethatha ibhamu ezingena ezifayiliwe ezinga ukuthi i-serial number zange i-retrieve ke ballistic.
Now, the National Office is the office that is responsible for such firearms as those ones whose serial number has been filed off, or that the ballistics
bazophinda futhi nabo bathumele futhi email nekhola futhi thathani ibhamu nizise endaweni so or ziletheni zonke ibhamu ezingena serial numbers sizokwazi bezokwazi ukuzoziphantsha bazinikeze a new serial number which is a WR number which stands for weapon registry.
Now, once the call-up has been issued, it will be there will be instructed where the OTE
WR number, weapon register number,
and they will be given the weapon register number or the WR number.
ZA number, but
even though others are also saying that it's a ZA number.
ngoba kumele kube ne record yaleso sibhamu ukuthi kwenzeka leso sibhamu exist.
Now, because there should be a record pertaining that firearm that once existed.
And to add on that, why any reason for why lesibhamu leso singakhelwanga out same time lokuzana singa instruction le ingenziwanga same time ukuthi destroy. Any reason ukuthi isibhamu kunama civil claims amaningi ukuthi amaphoyisa a destroy ibhamu zabantu umuntu abuya aqhamuka after 6 years athi uzofuna isibhamu sakhe.
Now, another reason why the firearm or that the compliance with the destruction of the firearm was not done immediately, it has to do, or it relates with the civil claims or civil suits. The police will be receiving the firearms. Instruction would be issued out to say that the firearm should be destroyed, and 6 months or after some time a person comes and he says that he wants his firearm.
So zonke lezo zinto kumele ukuthi sizama ukuzi-avoid ukuthi ngenzeke. That's why singajaheli ngisibhamu noma instruction engaphuma today awujahi sasa destroy isibhamu.
Now, those are the factors or dynamics that we need to consider. Even if you can receive an instruction today for the destruction of the firearm, you don't just up and go and destroy the firearm. You consider all those factors.
Well, so we didn't take the normal short adjournment. Are we going to take it, or are we proceeding?
Yeah. No, tell me, are you still going to be long?
No, my lord. I think there's just one or two aspects.
Yeah, let's finalize the evidence of this gentleman so that we can give Mr. Mnisi all those documents. He can even take them from this time and we start tomorrow so that he must have time to peruse them. Is that okay?
As the court pleases. Now, you mentioned that in the file that you compile, there must also be a ballistic report.
It is indeed so. The file that I compile must have the ballistic report. My lord, I was trying to interpret to the accused persons. I think the file a ballistic report.
Now, that process began in this respect of this firearm, of compiling a file.
Asikhathi le case finalizwa yalesibhamu le 96 Cleveland. Edoketini beyingekho ilokuzana ballistic report.
At the time that the case was finalized, that is the case number 96/02/2015 of Cleveland. Yini bengekho?
Beyingekho ballistic report.
The ballistic report was not in the file.
But the docket yona ayiliwe storeroom.
The docket had already been filed in the storeroom, though. Ngabe kukhona la kubonisa khona ukuthi yafayilwa nini?
Mangikhumbula kahle ngazathi 27/07/2017.
If I remember well, it was filed on the 27th of July, 2017.
So what is the date that you've just mentioned? What is the significance of the date? What happened on the date?
Kwenzakaleni nge 27th July 2017.
Ilapho icase i-1096 la yaba finalize the court the position of unlicensed firearm. Ya finalized ngayo leyo date leyo.
This is the date in which this case 96/02/2015 was finalized in court.
Now, what would have been the process after it was finalized?
In process whether emva ukuthi finalized.
Okay, ngizochaza ngokwazi kwami ne angisiyona detective.
Yes.
Look, I'm not a detective, but I will just give an explanation based on my knowledge.
Yes.
If case isiphelile court sebe finalize.
Once the case has been finalized at court,
Noma umuntu has been sentenced or has been acquitted.
whether the person has been sentenced or acquitted,
The docket must go iyahamba docket IO ithatha docket nayo ku branch commander wayo.
now O will subsequent to those proceedings take that docket to his branch commander,
Because the docket in an exhibit.
because that docket has an exhibit with it.
And le exhibit ngoba lo muntu se ake sithi umuntu sentenziwe.
The person has already been sentenced,
So kune exhibit
and in the interim we do have the exhibit pertinent
and
to
the
that
docket
case.
say finalize so funeka kwenzeke something ngale exhibit ekhona.
And the docket has already been finalized. Something needs to be done with this exhibit.
Okay uzohamba aye ku branch commander aka explain docket masibuye court ukuthi dileke ngale case umuntu sentenziwe kune exhibit.
Now the IO then proceed to the branch commander and say that we were at the court, the matter has been
But ke kodwa ke
peruse the docket.
bathola ukuthi khona yini wonke into iyenziwe konke nje oyivalwa nje le docket uthi wonke ama steps alandela.
Certain to have been a ballistic report that was compiled or issued.
If a ballistic report ingekho or ikhona kungenzeka ibe khona I ballistic report but ithi khumbula ukuthi le spam lesi city filed off uthola ukuthi ballistic ihlulekile ngazo zonke indlela ietching yabo bahlulile ukuthi bathole ba retrieve serial number, then I decision ezothathwa lapho ukuthi forfeit to the state and destroy.
Now, let us say that the firearm has been taken in for ballistics and then it comes back. They tried all they could to try and retrieve the serial number, and they could still not retrieve the serial number of that firearm. That firearm eventually, or the eventuality of that firearm would be that it should be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
Ngoba ngisho ukuthi kule case ke idocket yasebenza yaye court yaze yaqeda ingekho ballistic report kwaze kwathathwa finalized yonke into response ngekho. So ithe mayifika ku branch commander the decision ayithatha u branch commander yokuthi item 3.12 up to 3.23 must be forfeited to the state and be destroyed for descent for destruction.
As I have already indicated that there was no ballistic report that was compiled in this docket pertaining this particular item, particularly item 3.12 3.12 item 3, or this item must be forfeited.
So if usebeqedile ukufaka ama instruction level, then IO funeka buyise docket to the station ke manje azoyifile.
Process has been successfully undertaken. The docket should be taken by the IO from the branch commander and it be filed in the SAP 6 store for archive.
Mama firearm.
Part of my duties, when I am busy executing my duties, I have to peruse registers such as these ones.
Ukubona ukuthi akhona yini ama entry asenama ama entry anama instructions.
Entries that still are destroying, or personally I'll be